So what if the future showed up way, way sooner than you expected? Today, we're diving into a really wild announcement from the tech firm XPENG. And trust me, it suggests the whole sci-fi future of robotics might be a lot closer than any of us think.
Just picture this for a second. You walk into a store and your salesperson is a robot. Or maybe the receptionist at your next appointment, or the person giving you a product demo. And look, this isn't some random thought experiment. XPeng is actually laying out a concrete plan to make this happen, and it could totally change our day-to-day lives.
All right, let's get to the main event, XPENG's new humanoid robot. And what's really fascinating here is that this isn't just about nuts and bolts and engineering. Nope. It's about creating a machine that's designed to be, well, very, very human. And you gotta listen to the words they're using here. Near human golden proportions, reliable companion. I mean, that's not the kind of language you use for a tool, right? That's the language of creating something that can fit right into our world, something that feels familiar and can even learn on the job. Kind of like a human coworker. Okay, so a cool design is one thing, but what can this robot actually do? Let's talk about its first job assignments. So XPeng was super clear about this. The plan is to put these robots into what they're calling familiar scenarios first. Places where the tasks are straightforward and the environment is pretty controlled.
And their strategy is really pragmatic, really smart. The robot's first gigs will be things like working reception, being on a sales floor, or doing products demos. Just imagine walking into a car dealership and being greeted by one of these things. According to XPeng, that future is not decades away.
In fact, XPeng is aiming for 2026 for mass production in China. Just let that sink in for a minute. That's not some far-off sci-fi date. That is right around the corner.
And, that really close deadline starts to make a whole lot more sense when you realize this robot isn't just some standalone project. It's actually a really important piece of a much, much bigger vision.
See, this robot is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. It's a single, very visible part of a huge strategy that connects all kinds of different technology and transportation. And this whole vision is what XPeng calls its mobility ecosystem. The goal here is absolutely massive, to create a seamless network that doesn't just integrate cars, but all kinds of movement, with a big focus on making travel faster and, this is crucial, safer. So the core idea is this system that brings together land, air, and travel. And XPeng is really stressing that they're doing this step by step with safety as the #1 absolute top priority. This whole ecosystem includes their advanced cars, flying cars, and now these humanoid robots, all designed to work together and interact with us. So this brings up a really important question, right? Why now? Why does this future that seemed so far away suddenly feel like it's right on our doorstep? Well, according to XPeng, we are standing at a massive technological tipping point. The pace of change has just shifted into a whole new gear, and it's completely changing what's even possible. And get this, just a year and a half ago, XPeng themselves thought this kind of technology was quite a way out. But today, they're saying the inflection point is actually near. I mean, that's a huge shift in thinking in a super short amount of time. So what's the catalyst? What's causing this? XPeng says it's basically a perfect storm of 4 key things coming together. First, these massive leaps in AI. Second, the explosion of big language models, the tech behind stuff like ChatGPT. Third, a huge jump in raw computing power. And finally, getting access to tons of high-quality data. These 4 things are the engine pushing everything forward, and fast.
So what do we take away from all this? I mean, beyond the cool robots and the futuristic cars, there's a much bigger story here. And it's all about the speed of innovation itself.
And in what was a really telling moment, the company actually admitted the technology is happening faster than what we anticipate. Think about that. Even the people building it are surprised by how fast it's moving. So what this all really means is that the future we've all been imagining for so long, it isn't some distant dream anymore. It's knocking on the door, and it looks like it's arriving way ahead of schedule. And that leaves us all with one final, really important question. If companies like XPeng are right, and technology really is moving faster than even our own predictions, it kind of forces all of us to ask ourselves, are we ready for it?